Welcome. We are one. We are the collective. We are crypto miners. What's going on, everyone? Welcome, Rabid here. And today we're going to do a quick roll call in a minute, but I do have a special guest with us, which we'll get to in a minute. And we're going to talk about the USDC issues that are kind of going on. Well, let's start with a quick roll call. We do have Rud Putt, Sling Buzz. Oh, I forgot Rud's name. Hold on. Let's redo this. Rud Putts. Sling Buzz, Alvatus Jokabakis, Coin Miners. What's going on, Coin Miners? I always mess this up. Chris Irish, I believe, something like that. King Mining, Ethan Westfield, Budweiser. Scroll through. Squirrel Master, what's going on? What's happening? My best friend, welcome. J Mining. Scroll through. Hopefully I don't miss anyone. Power Mines Crypto, Kyla Rosa. Jock McMiner UK, what's happening out there? Ogre MGTOW. Winfair, welcome. Mr. Big Checkmark in the house. We got Golden Wolf, Automatic Beats. How you guys all doing today? First time 13. Let's see. It just jumped on me. Hopefully I didn't miss anyone. Comedy, what's happening? Chris Hanley. And Fully Electric, what's going on? How's everyone doing today? Bash Wings. So today we do have special guest here, Mr. Max Voltage. Let me just bring up the screen. There we go. Max, say something. Let us know how well the volume's coming in. I'll try to adjust something for us.
Say something. Thanks for having me on, Rabid. I appreciate it.
There we go. So can anyone hear him all right? Do you need the adjustment up or down on the volume or anything? Let us know in the live chat right quick.
Patrick Murphy, no DoorDash hat. They haven't sent me one yet. I don't give away this headspace for free.
So there's a little bit of turmoil happening in the crypto market today, and this revolves around the USDC. So I guess Max, take it away and kind of tell us what is going on.
Well, USDC is just kind of the collateral damage of what really has happened, which is SVB, Silicon Valley Bank, has basically gone into receivership. Basically, they had a run on the bank, which, by the way, can happen to any bank. And what caused all this was a downgrade in its rating, and it was trying to do some things in the background to put itself on better footing, because they were going to be downgraded multiple levels. And managed to, through the things they were doing, only get downgraded one level. But unfortunately, people caught word of it and said, nope, I have other options. I'm going to put my money elsewhere. And then, so no bank has the assets available immediately to handle a full run on the bank. And that's what happened to SVB. And so FDIC stepped in and basically put them in receivership. And last article I read said that they will reopen as Deposit Insurer Bank of Santa Clara or something to that effect. And my understanding is that that will happen on Tuesday. So between now and Tuesday, a lot of questions to be answered.
That is crazy. I seen somewhere also that their insurance was going on, but only like 250,000 per user or per person or per something. I don't know. And like people have millions in there.
Yeah, so that definitely is the case. But see, there's a difference here in the fact this is a receivership and not a bankruptcy. So, SVB does have assets. They just don't have readily available assets to handle the bank run. And so that's why the FDIC stepped in. So yes, if it was a full-on bankruptcy, yes, there would be limits on the amount that each account would be that would have available. But because this is a receivership, it's kind of like in a sense, it's kind of like a company going out of business that has significant assets. They may not get like pennies on the dollar, but maybe 50 or 75 cents on the dollar. So while that's not great, it's certainly better than receiving pennies on the dollar, which is a lot of times what happens when creditors or shareholders have these types of things happen to them.
Yeah, that's crazy. And this is a legit full on bank that's getting bank run, isn't it?
Correct.
Yeah. So
This is
like,
actually the largest FDIC takeover since Wells Fargo, not Wells Fargo, sorry, Washington Mutual. So yeah, Washington Mutual, not Wells Fargo. Washington Mutual in 2008 was taken over. They were 300 billion in assets. Silicon Valley is 200 and something. I forget if it's 220, 240, something in that range.
yeah, that's crazy. So yeah, it's a full on bank. And like everyone talks about before how, all the proof of reserves came out previously with FTX and everything. And I still think that's a whole bunch of gimmicking. But regardless, like we always talked about, you go to a bank, you try to withdraw X amount of money. It takes a couple days because they don't have it. We know they don't have it. They don't hold it on hand. So now everyone's bank running a bank where, a normal person would have to wait a day or two to get something. So now if everyone's trying to pull it out, this is going to be a process and making headlines.
Yep. It's yeah, and the thing is I guess Coinbase and Binance have basically put trading on hold with USDC, which honestly is probably a smart move. Regardless of what their motivations may be, it's still a smart move to wait until all this kind of calms down, so that there isn't a significant, there's already been a depeg of USDC, but to try to prevent a bigger depeg and allow the news to kind of flush out and figure out everything that's happening. I mean, the initial news I saw on Circle was that they have 3.3 billion in SVB. You're like, holy crap, 3.3 billion. Oh, well, they have 40 billion in assets and liquid assets. So, okay, wait a minute. Now when you're talking about it's less than 10%. So not as bad as it made initially sound when you're just talking about one initial dollar amount. So yeah, I think we're going to learn a lot more over the next few days. And as I've said before, everybody calm down. This will be bad, but and honestly, the ones that are going to be really bad are going to be any startups that had the majority of their cash in SVB. And so I don't think this is going to affect crypto as badly as it's going to affect the overall startup market. And that's what's going to be really bad. I mean, there could be people with some really great ideas and they may just go under for lack of funds. So we'll see what happens. That's kind of, I think, the more interesting part of the story. And that's the part of the story that hasn't come out yet. I've been looking for anybody that, or any companies that will in fact go under. Right now it's just kind of this general, hey, some of these companies are going to go under because they won't have the funds to meet payroll.
Yeah, so max voltage kind of started on to the next topic here. But yeah, so we started off with, this is a real life huge bank that's getting a bank run. Now we're all wondering, like, how is this affecting crypto? You're talking about a bank, and then Max just touched up on it. So USDC, the company that runs them or started or whatever, Circle, they have $40 billion, but they tried to pull out 3.3 billion and they were not able to due to this bank run. Now we got a ripple effect happening. People catch wind. Oh, USDC is in trouble. What are we going to do? Everyone start pulling out. Then we got Binance, who does things on his own terms. I feel he's just trying to pump his own pockets here. So we got Binance and Coinbase kind of working together saying, hey, we're not swapping anything into USDC anymore until we hear what happens. They only pulled out 3%, a small part of USDC's main fund. So it's not really a game changer to USDC or Circle in part. But now we got Binance here, who has the potential to now say, hey guys, look at, we still have BUSD. This is our own coin. Use it instead. And if you can see on the screen right now, USDC is already kind of making a comeback, but we'll just have to wait to see what happens. But I feel Binance and Coinbase are kind of trying to run their own pockets a little deeper because of this.
Agreed. You said it perfectly.
Yeah. What else can we touch up on this? Because I know a lot of people are scared right now. Like, I feel USDC. Now, that's interesting, too, because what was it? It was last month, maybe 2 months ago. I remember Crypto.com was sending out to us Canadian users USDT was actually getting banned or something in Canada. Now, it's not a full out widespread ban, but it looks like some exchanges are removing it. So now you have a competition here of this happening to USDC, and now you got USDT kind of in Canada not being able to be at full scale. And USDC has been gaining a lot of momentum over the past year or two over USDT. So this is very interesting. And now I can see USDC is actually kind of dipping again.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be interesting. Like I said, we've only just touched on the news at this point. There's probably thousands of startups that have money from SVB for their capital, and yeah, I think the stories are just going to start coming out. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. But as you mentioned earlier, like this isn't really like it's doing a big thing in the crypto market, obviously. And I see that actually more people. I have an article where they said after the 2008 one, like you said, with that large bank going under, that's when the white paper for Bitcoin came out to say, hey, we're going to avert this, start moving to Bitcoin and stuff. And then now we're kind of seeing it again. And it sounds like more people are starting to revisit that white paper again. And we're starting to see an incline, or I guess increase in Bitcoin. People are going back into it slowly, which is kind of causing a little bit of green that we're seeing now.
Yeah, agreed. And it's interesting, with all this bad news that just came out, Bitcoin, yeah, it's gone down, but it's not gone down that much. It's really, I think, holding its own. And not meaning to go into a completely different topic, but one of the coins that's really held its own is Caspa. Caspa had a big drop, and now it's gone back up again. So not all crypto is affected equally, and I think the crypto market's actually shown some resilience.
No, that's true. That's true. Caspa was actually on what to mine still profitable at my power price by a little bit, so that's a bonus. It's coming back. There's a few other coins I also seen: Duro, Epic, a couple other coins. Even XMR is actually green today while others are falling.
Well, it's actually interesting, and I probably shouldn't say this because I haven't changed over to it yet, but Dynex is very interesting now that RabidMiner has made it available to GPUs. I know that it's significantly profitable for my old 5700 XTs. I haven't changed it. That was one of the things I was going to do this morning. And then this news came out and I did the whole rabbit hole of learning about what's going on here. But yeah, I'll be changing over my my AMD rig over to Dynex. TradeOgre has it on their exchange. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens with another new crypto that is expanding.
Yeah, it's very interesting. There's still a lot of unknowns with Dynex, but you know what? End of the day, it's profitable. You don't have to hold the coin if you don't want to. You can easily swap it, but it is paying you, the most for your hardware.
Exactly.
We had a couple super chats and stuff here. Let me just check this out. We got Kazumak says at Rabid, I've been telling everyone the moment they start messing with Paxos banks and banning funding on Binance, other banks will follow. Thank you very much for the €5. And yeah, that's interesting. That's something to do with the whole Swift thing with Binance. What's that all about?
Not really that sure on that one.
I can't remember, like, depending where you hear it, how you hear it, there's always so many different stories behind something. One was that, Binance canceled bank transfers, but it did turn out to be that Swift, the company in general for wire transfers, was doing it on their own, which comes front of all this whole government regulation thing, and who knows what's really going on there. So it's almost like the little guy, they're trying to halt the little guy from being able to get into crypto by having to be able to send at least 100,000 or over to something like Binance through wire transfers, which is interesting.
Ojwa? What the heck is that? Sorry, I'm just reading the chat.
Ojwa? We have an Ojwa in the house.
F Dynex. I mean Dojwow.
Oh, Dojwow. You don't know about Dojwow, Max?
I don't. I don't know anything about Dojwow. What's going on there?
So this is interesting. I still don't know the full story on this whole operation, but it's all starting back. As soon as I say his name, you'll probably shake your head. Anyway, it starts with Justin's son. And so we all know the background story. He was supposed to be part of FWOW right now. And then all of a sudden, last minute, he forked ETF. Now, moving forward, he is now, okay, this is the funny part. So he says he is forking Dogecoin, and he's then going to implement it into ETF mining to merge mine on the Ethash algorithm, Doge W, as well as ETF at the same time, which would be decent for bonusing into there. Yeah, that's that Doge. But actually, the other day, I got to bring this GitHub up later. I was looking through the GitHub and, it shows you the forks and everything. Now, on the Apollo website, it says they forked Doge. They're removing the merge mining from Litecoin. They're moving it to Ethash. And they're doing all this stuff to make it, become part of that and eliminate Litecoin. Now, on the GitHub, Doge W is forked from ETF. It's not even forked from Doge in the first place, so it has nothing to do with Doge at all. Well, forking anything is no longer part of that project. You're taking on your own. But it's not even forked from freaking Dogecoin. Zero. It's forked from ETF already with Ethash and everything. Nothing to do with Litecoin. So I don't know what all these write-ups going on with Doge W even is when it's not even coming from Doge in the first place.
That's weird. The only thing I can think of is that somehow they're working a deal that somehow they look up all of the from the blockchain. They look at all of the deposits that have been made to the Doge wallet addresses, and then poof, everybody who has coin at for Doge would automatically have it for Doge WOW. I mean, that's the only thing you can truly call it a fork, because a fork means they both have to be equal. So just like when ETH forked into proof of stake, and then ETH, why am I not thinking ETH POW, basically you had the equal amount on that chain as well. So I don't know. Be curious to see when they roll this out how that's gonna work.
Yeah, totally. Now I've been back and forth with them for a little bit on Twitter, and they did say that they're using, it's forked from ETF, says straight up on the GitHub, but they are saying they're using the ledger or something from Dogecoin addresses.
That makes sense.
But so I don't know, they have this, it's so much uncertainty. They say the first 100 addresses, I don't know if it's on the test net or first 100 addresses that make an address on Doge W from the fork will get airdropped, and then everyone helping on the testnet will get airdropped. I threw one Apollo on the testnet a couple days ago, and then they recently did a fork to drop the DAG down to 2 gigabytes or something. And then now none of the Apollos will connect or something. So I went back to the typical ETC and ZIL, but yeah, I don't know what's going on with the testnet anymore. It got broken or something.
Interesting. Yeah, I knew about the 100. So it reminded me, only the first 100 accounts, first 100 addresses. But yeah, I don't know. It all sounds sketchy to me.
Yeah, I have no idea. We have to wait. It's Justin's son. Usually there's something bad happens wherever he is. You gotta say, I don't know. He got out of everyone you can see, he's a smart guy. He obviously makes a lot of money, but it just seems like somehow he's just getting away with too many things. He pulled out of FTX hours before everything happened. He pulled out of what is the whole Luna thing hours or days before it happened. Anywhere he was and he leaves, something bad happens right afterwards.
Well, I mean, yeah, does it happen because he leaves? No, he just catches wind of it because of who he is, and therefore can take it. And obviously, there's no insider trading rules when it comes to crypto. So yeah,
we just got to do what he does, and we'll be rich.
Right? Yeah. If you
follow Justin's son.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, imagine. Yeah. And that's interesting because if you do find out what his wallet addresses are, you can follow what he does. The key is getting access to those or finding out what they are and paying attention to them.
Very, very true. Let's see if he pulls out USDC or not. Someone find his address ASAP. Or is he buying something?
Right.
Someone had a comment here. What was it? Oh, when I have control push to talk on, I can't scroll my mouse, so this sucks. Insider trading. What do we have? RabidMining. They're just using the name. Yeah, Fully Electric says they're just using the name Doge W. I feel that is obviously a namesake they're rolling with to try and bring more people to it using Doge's name when they're forking out of something else. But then Yeah, pulling that ledger and everything. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. Will it be profitable? Probably not. It'll be an interesting concept because I feel if they could pull something off like legitly merge mining two coins within ETH hash, like we see with Script, Litecoin, and Doge, I feel
Hmm.
we could start to see a better future for a lot of mineable coins. Maybe some start collabing or something. Because in theory, you are not gaining extra power. You're supporting two networks for the same security instead of supporting one, and then it increases your profitability as well. So, this could change things in terms of crypto mining.
Yeah, it definitely could. Yeah, I'll see how much innovation he brings to the market and see what comes of it. I mean, we've all been surprised by new projects that have shown, at least initial success. Caspa, Nexa. I mean, Dynex. I mean, like I said, I don't know much about a lot of these projects, but bottom line is they've been able to garner and some hash rate as well as show that they can be profitable from a mining perspective.
Very true. And like I know pre-ETH merge, we're always talking, hey, maybe some new coin will emerge that could take over and help GPU mine. We don't know because we knew the hash rate was going to come in. It pretty much dominated all the mainstream coins everyone was talking about. They're still not profitable. But Caspa
Mhm.
wasn't really on an exchange at the time. Now it is. It's gaining momentum. Nexa, the same thing. Caspa and Nexa are the two most are paying miners the most under ETC at this point now. And Caspa actually passed ETC not too long ago. I believe it's down again. Actually, ETC seen a lump, so it might be above it again. But there are coins taking over that gap to increase for future and might potentially mining profitability.
Yeah, I mean, don't forget Radiant as well. So yeah, there's
Yeah, Radiant.
there's a bunch.
Yeah, and Dynex now, obviously. But the only one thing I am up in the air of still is obviously Caspa's emission schedule is constantly dropping every month. We got FPGAs coming on. We got Radiant. Sounds like there's going to be FPGAs for that. Ergo's still up in the air on FPGA. I don't know the whole full story there, but it sounds like it might be thing. But Ergo's still one of those coins that seems to be losing traction potentially. But I feel long term, 2025 to 2026, those might not be very well GPU mineable coins anymore.
It's possible. It's definitely possible. But I mean, hey, guess what? You had ASICs on Ethereum and it was still profitable. So
That's very
hard
true.
to know for sure.
Very,
One
very
thing, one thing
true.
we can guarantee, it's constant change. Crypto is constant change.
Oh, for sure. But that's also a difference because technically Ethash and Ethereum was ASIC resistant, not ASIC proof, but it was ASIC resistant.
Mm-hmm.
And some people don't really realize that because they're like, oh, well, you mean there's ASICs on it. But like ASIC proof means, you can't make an ASIC, it's too hard. Or maybe you can, it's just too expensive to do so. And it's not going to be that much of an increase. That's kind of what we see with Ethash. But when it does come to Caspa and stuff, like Ethash, you got some nice one. Well, at the time, early when we are still mining, we had the A7 somethings. I can't remember what they're A10 Pros, those guys. So they came out, it was like 750 mega hash, maybe 800,000 watts. I can't remember the numbers, but they looked amazing. They weren't way above GPUs, but they were obviously better. Now you come into FPGA and ASIC algorithms like Caspa. I got my entire farm. It's about 6 gigahash, maybe around 2,000 watts, 1,800 watts or something. Now you got FPGAs that can do 14 gigahash at 400 watts. That's where we see the rise above it on algorithms that ASICs can really mine. That's the same thing with Bitcoin right now. You see 144, 200 terahash machines versus a GPU and CPU that does it only like, in the kilohash mark.
Yeah, interesting.
What do we got? Anyone got any questions in the live chat or anything? I don't think there really is much to go on the USDC thing because it's more of a, like you said earlier, startup tech companies, people and banks, that's hurting them the most. It's not really a big deal to crypto at this point because it's only, like you said, 10% of USDC's fine. So I feel crypto is going to come back within, less than a week probably. We'll see a rebound from this probably fairly easy.
Yeah, Jamie has it right. It's a bank run. That's exactly what it is. It can happen to any bank that has negative news where everybody gets freaked out and says, "I'm pulling my money out."
Yeah, and
So
because we're involved in the crypto space, that's kind of the section we're following it. But it's worse for the fiat people and major companies that are in it than crypto. I think this is not that big of an impact on crypto in general, I feel.
agreed.
Rabbit, this will play in two scenarios. So we got Kuzamix here. Thank you for the 10 euros here. We got Rabid. This will play in two scenarios. One will be they have their reserves to keep the main coins and exchange tokens alive, or scenario two, which is plan B, is to sell alts to keep BTC, ETH, BNB, and so on. Possibly. We got to wait and see what they do. Where is, I had an article here.
So I see that Rude Puts has a question. Power cost. My current cost is 9.5 cents. That's what it was last month. And it looks like it's pretty much continuing on that same trajectory this month. I'm on variable, as many of you know, but yeah, right now it's about 9.5 cents.
Yeah, 9.5 cents. That's awesome.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, it's been better. Like when I, during the winter when it got really, really cold, or at least when it was moderately cold. I shouldn't say really, really cold. When it was really, really cold, it was just crazy expensive all the time. But when it's somewhat cold, it's at night, it's like super cheap. And then during the day, when businesses have to run their furnaces and all that, it becomes expensive. So you actually, when I was doing it at that point, my cost of electricity was actually much lower. But now it's getting better. I mean, because I'm actually have more solar as well. Last month I had like 400 kilowatt hours, which for February was awesome. But yeah, I'll start having more solar production, so that'll help as well.
Yeah, time change. Do you have time change there? Because that's happening here anyway. I guess tonight.
Yeah.
For tomorrow.
Yes.
So that's an extra hour of sun already starting.
Well, yeah, in a sense, I guess it's still the same amount of sun. It's just
during the day
as to when it's going to be. But God, I hate the spring forward. I really hate for losing an hour of sleep. Well, losing an hour of the day anyway. Means for a short weekend too. That sucks too.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, it happens right on the Sunday, 3 a.m. Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah.
But I'm at 11 cent power. It's a little more than you, but I feel I'm even lucky at 11 cents power compared to so many other people. Like, what's the average in the United States? I think I read it was like 15 to 16 cents for like an average across there.
Yeah, depending on the timing of the article, because some places are actually starting to come down a little bit again. But yeah, somewhere in the range of 14 to 16 cents is average.
That's crazy. And then poor guys in Europe, red pots, nuclear power plants. What are they, like 40, 50? Like it did hit what, like 60 cents for a little bit. I don't know if it's still that high, but maybe.
Yeah, UK like 40 to 45 cents. Wow.
That's insane. I don't think anything's profitable with that zero. Like an L7, a K3. Well, those profits just dumped with the hash rate increases. But like, yeah, I don't think there's anything that's going to be profitable on those things, on those prices.
Yeah, I wouldn't think so. Be better off buying the coin or renting somebody else's hash rate that has a cheaper power rate.
Very, very true. Nice hash rentals. No, hey, that's a good thing. What do we got there? We got Terra hosting. They're doing their thing. I don't know their power costs. Do you know their power costs? I believe they're supposed to go down a bit more again. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I mean they've been talking about they're looking at expanding into Indiana. I don't know all the details other than what everybody else has heard. So, but yeah, I think their current cost is like 14 cents. I think. Honestly, I'm not positive. That's the last I remember. But there's different things that are going on there as far as they hit a certain power mark, then their cost actually goes down. So with commercial rates, the more you pull, I mean, it's like volume discount. So the more that you pull, the lower the rate you get. So they have certain triggers with their utility that if they get to a certain amount of power that they're pulling consistently, then they will be able to jump down to like the next tier.
Yeah, very true. So maybe that's what he was talking about. New negotiations coming up. They might be getting getting busy over there, more people sending rigs, using more power, and then they can, okay, we can drop our power a little bit more now to the next level.
Exactly. So, but yeah, there's them, and there's lots of others as well. Just if you're going to choose a hosting company, just be very careful. Make sure you know somebody else that has talked about being on them, and you want to be very, very cautious. I mean, Terra, I trust them, so I'm certainly would say that they are a good choice. But wherever you decide to go, just make sure. I've heard of so many people getting burned by dealing with a United States company, but the United States company is then shipping all of your hardware to a foreign country where the cost of electricity is like really, really low. And then that company who did it in good faith, is unable to, continue to operate, and the hardware's gone. So
very true. Yeah, the same thing. I'm very sketchy on sending anything to like a hosting service, because it's almost like crypto, not your keys, not your crypto, you send your hardware away. It's no longer yours. I don't care if you paid for it. You sent it to somebody else. So who knows? Now, Terra, I would vouch for. Obviously, they're on YouTube. They're friends with everyone on YouTube, and obviously, if they stole everyone's hardware, their channels and stuff would ultimately die. They would.
It's funny. Somebody said, "Not your nuke, not your power." I was thinking, they would be nuked on YouTube, Discord, wherever, if that were to happen.
And the addresses are everywhere. Everybody knows them. Like they would have, it would be bad. So that's one reason. Like I believe they're gonna take care of your stuff.
Exactly, and it's that's the one advantage of working with a company such as that has such a public profile, because it's like I'm trying to think of what the word of it that I used before, but basically it's mutual destruction, ability to have mutual destruction. If they screw you, you have the ability to screw them, type of thing. So I best thing is the fact that he has openly said, in fact, I coined the phrase for him and he uses it, which he's like, mind if I use it? I'm like, go ahead. Trust is a service. I mean, the fact that we can trust them, there is definitely value to that.
For sure. So I see we have 132 viewers. I definitely pretty sure we don't have that many likes yet. So better hit that button, guys. Let's talk. You're into Flux. I know you guys and everyone over there at pretty much on your Saturday night streams are all big Flux people, which is good. Now, nodes. I'm curious. So there's Cumulus. I don't even know. There's Cumulus, which seems to be the most popular for everyone. Now, is each node on their own queue system?
On their own what system?
Like their queue system? Like, how they do their queue and then you stay in line for uptime and percentage? So is everyone on their own?
Yes, exactly. So each node has their own place in line. They are their own individual entity in line. So I've got a number of nodes, and each one of them has a different time where it's scheduled to be paid out. Yeah.
Now, what about each structure? Like you have your Cumulus, you got your Stratus, and they're higher tier ones and stuff. They pay less, but are they on their own separate queue lines, or are they all together?
Yes. In fact, so there's so you have basically a 50-50 split between the rewards on Flux, and the 50% for the nodes is broken out between each of the node types. So Cumulus has a certain percentage, Stratus has a certain percentage, and Nimbus has a certain percentage. I was having trouble remembering that one. And all of those three put together equals that 50 or whatever. It's slightly less than 50%, but right about that. So if let's say there's 50,000 Cumulus nodes, it's going to really, just like mining, it's going to really, take down the overall reward that you're going to be able to earn. The more nodes that come online, the less you get. And that's one of the reasons why with the halving, because it did have the rewards for the nodes as well, there has been less growth in the number of nodes because we've taken a hit. So, it's 1,000 Flux for Cumulus, 12,500 for Nimbus, and then 40,000 for Stratus.
Yeah, so that's what I want to touch up on, because I know a while back when the nodes first started becoming a thing, you compared the rewards. Everyone's talking about, hey, it makes more sense to build a whole bunch of cumulus nodes than one of the other ones because you'll get more and everything. But if they're on different queue systems, like I said, there's 50,000 cumulus and say only 1,000 of the bigger ones, you're going to end up making more on the bigger ones due to the separate queue system.
Well, the way it has worked out right now is it's still more profitable to actually own, for the amount of flux you have, it's more profitable to have cumulus nodes. So the equivalent of having 12 and a half cumulus nodes, well, actually right now, if you have 8 cumulus nodes, it's more profitable than having one Nimbus node. So
Okay, so
now,
it not at that level, but eventually, if more people obviously start getting into Cumulus, it will eventually even out because you're waiting way longer for that queue, and then a slower
correct.
queue for there. Unless the other ones obviously explode as well, because everyone's going to keep, like mine is probably going to go to whatever is more profitable. But we have seen, I guess, a node fall off due to as well for hosting fees. So it's probably be some time until this all does its thing. But over time, if everyone keeps say pumping Cumulus nodes and everyone just jumps onto them because they're more profitable, then the other ones will start looking a little better depending on how much flux you have.
Now, with all that said, the one advantage of having, let's say you had 12,500 and you had the upload required to do it and the hardware required to do it, would it make sense to go to Nimbus anyway? Well, that depends on where you're coming from. The one real advantage to being on a Nimbus is the fact that your payouts are like every 3 days as opposed to every 2 weeks. So if your node goes down, no matter what type of node it is, and goes past the maintenance period, which is usually like 3 to 4 hours, if it goes past that, your node goes down, you lose your place in line. So with Nimbus, at least if you lose your place in line, you're only losing 3 days as opposed to 14.
That's
And
very
I will
true. That
tell
would
you,
suck.
yeah, I will tell you this week was painful because I had 5 nodes that were about to get a payout within the next 2 days, and I lost 3 of them. And that's due to automatic updates that were thrown out there by Flux. And this is the reason why the Flux team has said, you might not want to do automatic updates. You may want to schedule your updates or initiate your updates and then do a restart on your node to ensure that it stays up.
That makes sense. Yeah, right after you get your payout, do your upgrade.
Well, exactly, and that's the thing. Yeah, I always wait to do any changes on my nodes until right after it gets I get a payout. So that way, even if I make a change and something goes wrong, well, okay, I've only lost a day or something like that. So, but this is all new technology, and there's going to be hiccups along the way, as with anything that's new. So you have to just come to realize and roll with the punches and figure out if you want to make changes. I still have all mine on automatic updates because I'm lazy, but I have seriously thought about turning those off because it's not that hard to do, to actually turn off the automatic updates.
This is why you shouldn't do it, but I'm still doing it. I'm the same way.
Exactly. Don't do as I do, do as I say.
Awesome. Now I feel like I'm talking with Dan himself here right now. We got Mr. Max Voltage, but now I'm curious because I don't follow Flux too much. It's new. It's very early. It's going to see some huge gains in the future, 100%. But what are what are the nodes themselves? What are they doing? Like I know they're trying to AWS competitions and all this. Now, are the nodes talking back and forth, storing this stuff? Plus, you got the hard drive ones now. Are they what's running the network for all of this WordPress and everything?
Yes, they are what's running the network. So basically, they're just a large compute network. I mean, if you think about virtual machines, you have servers out there that are you divvy up with AWS, for instance. They have lots of servers, and you get a certain portion of that server. Whether it be 1 core, 8 gigs of RAM. Whatever it is, divvying up what you need to run whatever you're going to do. That's what the node network is. Each one of the nodes is going to have a minimum of 4 threads. And, so right now, like for instance, what I've got running behind me is actually a computer that has 4 nodes running on it. Each of them has 2 cores, 4 threads. It's an 8-core AMD 2700 processor. It's got 32 gigs of RAM, so each one of them is divvied basically about 8 gigs of RAM. So in essence, what I'm doing there to run nodes is the same thing that the FLUX cloud is allocating for anything you want to run on it. I shouldn't say anything. It's rolling out different things right now. WordPress beta is currently running. But in anything you have Dockerized, you can also run on the FLUX network.
Yeah. So you're running all these things. So like if I wanted to build a WordPress site, like, so part of it could be in yours as well as someone else's. You guys are like maintaining the actual integrity of it, I guess.
Yeah, so basically the way WordPress is done is that there's a primary node that you're allocated to, and there's 2 backups that you're allocated to. So if that primary goes down, it should automatically switch over to one of the backups. Now, beyond that, as far as what happens, if the primary is down for 5 minutes, if it then changes and reallocates another backup. I know there's something going on in the background. I just don't know the details. But yeah, it's allocating the resources of the network dynamically to make sure that your whatever you have running on the FLUX network continues to run.
That's very cool. Obviously, that is the purpose of a decentralized network. Millions of people all across the world running their nodes instead of a single entity like Amazon hosting everything. And if they cut the power cut, they get hit by a lightning bolt or something, and everything goes down, FLUX should still be running. Now, like I said, I don't follow it much. What about scaling issues? What if all of a sudden one day everyone on Amazon goes, okay, you know what? Let's try this FLUX thing. It's cheaper. Let's go over there. And then all of a sudden, bam, everyone smashes out the network. Well, everyone's bandwidth and hardware and all the requirements will probably have to then undergo a potential increase in everything.
Well, it's interesting because that's one of the things they have built in is right now the amount of collateral necessary to run the different types of nodes is set. And that's going to basically run it in such a way that it's going to allow some people will want to actually create nodes, and other people will be like, no, the return's not big enough. Or I don't have that much flux. There's barriers to entry. So one of the things they've done in the past, the last big time where they had an explosion in the number of nodes was when they did a collateral halving. And they've talked about this, that if they get to 70% utilization. Now, how do you define utilization? That I don't know. Whether it's the number of nodes utilized or if it's actually resources, 70% of CPU cores, memory, storage space is used. So I don't know how they're defining that 70%. Somebody probably knows that. I'm not sure what it is. Anyway, point being is that they have something set up that they would then do another collateral halving, which would encourage more people to come online with nodes. It would also allow people that maybe running multiple Cumulus nodes where they'd be like, okay, I'm going to upgrade to a Nimbus node now that I have enough collateral to run that. So there would be an increase in CPUs, memory, all of that available by people just with the same amount of collateral, just upgrading their hardware. So yeah, the idea is that that's how that network would grow. Will it happen overnight where all of a sudden that'll happen? No, they'll highly doubt that. I don't know if they have breaks in place to say, no, hold off, we can't accept any more. I don't know the details beyond that, but if I was them, that's what I would do. But wow, that'd be a nice problem to have at that point.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And for some people that may be a little bit confused, that's not a reward halving, that's a collateral halving to actually run another node. So instead of 1,000, it would drop to like 500, just to allow more people to expand out, very fast in order to do so, depending if you have the hardware, order some more hardware to do so. So that's actually pretty cool. Unlike Amazon would have to order another 2,000 Epic CPUs or something like that.
Yep, exactly.
Fully Electric said it's based on resources. So I guess that would assume, the CPUs and everything out there percentage used. Ronnie says, oh, thank you very much for the $5. I have a 3900X undervolted using Unraid and running 4 nodes at 59 watts total at the wall. Nice. 4 nodes on 3900X. Awesome.
Yep, I have not undervolted mine yet. And Rhonda, you could have 8 running on that. You can have 8 nodes running on that 3900X.
Look at that. 8 nodes.
Because oh no, I take it back. Not 8, 6. Because it's only 12 cores.
Oh, he lied to you. He lied to you. 6, not 8.
Yeah. Sorry, 6, not 8. Like I said, I had this 2700 sitting around. My daughter had it and she upgraded to a 5900X. And I was like, yeah, what are you going to do with this? She's like, I don't know. And so I'm like, you mind if I build up something with it? And she's like, no, not at all. So she was nice enough to grant that to me and built up, like I said, the computer behind me for, I don't know, about $300, something like that to, motherboard. And I know I didn't have to put it in a case, but kind of felt like putting it in a case and such. So yeah.
Why not? Makes it look nicer.
Exactly.
What else are we going to talk about?
So I'm not using Unraid on mine. I'm using Proxmox on mine. So definitely multiple ways to skin a cat. I tried using ESXi, but ESXi does not like AMD hardware at all.
Oh, Rondi has one of his as a Nimbus. Which one's the Nimbus? Is that the middle one?
That's the 12,500 one. So yes, then that would make sense. Yeah, he's got 4 nodes running on there, but he's got 1 Nimbus, which is going to require four of those cores.
That's crazy. I got some Flux in a Titan node.
Nice. Well, hey, that's still contributing to the network, no doubt.
It is, but I feel that I would have made a probably quadruple in the last couple of weeks. It's locked in there too.
Yeah, it's like 3 times. So I know back when Titan originally came out, it was somewhere around the 7% range, and Cumulus nodes were garnering like over 20%. It was like 22, 23%. So yeah, to have your own hardware. But hey, when you put things in a Titan node, you don't have to buy your own hardware. You don't have that cost. You're just gaining the return. So yeah, you're still benefiting from it. So it's still
very true. I meant in general because it's locked in. Like, what was that? Sure, I don't have any hardware, no power costs, no nothing. Awesome. It was about at that time when I first did it, it was last July. It was about 15 Flux. Haven't came through. Now it's around 7. But I mean, what was it? 2, 3, 4 weeks ago? I can't remember when it was. But Flux had that big pump. I sold all my Flux then. I only had 300 and some left because of that Titan node had a little over 1,000. So I was like, crap, I want to sell this too because usually if something pumps really, really fast, it's gonna drop. And then that happened. I sold that like $1.40, $1.50 Canadian, and now it's at like 60 cents Canadian, 70. So I would have almost doubled everything right up.
Yep. So yeah, that was a good move by you, no doubt.
Yeah, like that's what I'm not a trader or anything, but usually I find if something pumps very, very, very fast, then most likely it's gonna drop. So I tend to end up selling stuff. And then I just buy back in. I don't expect a huge drop. You don't want to be picky or you will lose. So drops a little bit, buy back in, whatever. But, it seems to have been working. And 2023, personally, myself, I do feel it's the year of the trader. I don't think we're going to be in any bull run this year as much as anybody likes to say a bull run's coming this year. I really don't think that's going to happen based on just previous. Right now, we're like in 2019. We're coming into we're in 2019, I guess. And then 1 year after the big fall. So I feel next year we're going to start gaining some nice momentum. And then in 2025, we should be seeing some new all-time highs. But I don't think there's any massive. We're going to see some big jumps here. We're going to see a lot of dips. But I think we're going to average around mostly sideways throughout 2023.
I don't know. My prediction at the beginning of the year, and it hasn't changed, I believe will be somewhere for Bitcoin be between 24 and 30,000. Obviously, we've already hit 24,000 this year, but I'm saying by the end of the year, that's where I think we will be. So I think any dip below 24,000 is a buying opportunity. Not financial advice, but that's what I'm doing. I've currently kind of doubled down and continued to dollar cost average into Flux. Had actually invested a little bit in Litecoin. That's where my free cash winnings are going. So, but yeah, I'm trying to get up to the next amount that I can build one more node.
Into Litecoin. Interesting.
Yeah. I like Litecoin. I mean,
hey, me too.
here's the thing. People talk about Litecoin, and what do people do? Like, oh yeah, I've got this coin, and I transfer it into Litecoin, and then I move it into Litecoin. I trade into Litecoin, and then I transfer it to wherever I want to go, and then I put it back to what I want it to be. Like, okay, so you're actually using Litecoin for what it's designed to do, which is transfer value. That's what it's for.
Exactly. That's
a job at a low cost, much lower than Bitcoin and most other coins, and it's reliable. It isn't trying to change the world, I guess. Yeah, what was really interesting is this last recent pump. Litecoin led the way. Litecoin was the first thing that was going up before anything else, and I think that says a lot for it as well.
Oh, that makes 100% sense, because yeah, you swap into Litecoin, obviously Litecoin is going to see a pump. Now if you're a trader, you can use that to your advantage if you know how to read stuff and everything. But that could mean, just like when you see USDC and stable coins kind of going red and you see Bitcoin stuff going green, or vice versa, stable coins, Litecoin, these things can represent a move in the market due to the fact that withdrawal fees from any exchange with Litecoin is very, very cheap. Unlike Binance and everyone, like, they all charge you a lot. Like, especially in the last bull run, you're spending $40, $50 to withdraw Bitcoin because of their withdrawal fees alone. That's not even on the transaction. That's just pulling out of the exchange itself. But Litecoin is very cheap to pull out of any exchange. And that's why I also look as well. It is a money mover. On top of that, it is listed alongside Bitcoin, Ethereum, as well as even Dogecoin. You can use it for a lot of these coin payment sites to actually buy goods and services, which is also huge for crypto and its intended purpose as well.
Agreed. Actually, that reminded me of something that I saw, and I want to make sure I get the announcement right, for Flux, actually. Yeah, so Flux is now been added to swap space. So for those people that are like, oh yeah, well, my exchange doesn't support Flux, you can now move things to Flux on your Zelcore wallet using swap space. So let's say you had Ethereum, for example, that you wanted to transition into Flux, you could actually use swap space to make that change.
Which one is swaps? Is that like I don't know how to explain it.
I think it's swapspace.io. It's one of the swapping sites. You have like Simple Swap, you got Swap Space.
Yeah, that's what I was trying. I couldn't remember the name, Simple Swap, and there's another one there. But that's what it is. It's just it's one of those quick, easy swapping things.
Exactly. And it's so funny though. I've used them. I've definitely used them a few times. Both SwapSpace and Simple Swap actually, and it's the most unnerving time, because it takes time for these things to go through.
I know where you're going with this. I was going to say it too.
You're like, God, this seems sketchy. Is it actually going to go through? And you're like all worried about whether or not it goes through. And I haven't had a situation where they haven't gone through. So, but just be very, very careful with them. Don't put any incorrect wallet addresses. Double, triple check the information you're putting in before you go ahead and do it, because mistakes can be unrecoverable, as I understand it. So yeah.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I was going to say the same thing, but you touched up on it. Yeah, I've used those platforms as well for their certain things, like either Litecoin for Doge or Doge for Litecoin or whatever, depending what I'm mining or getting paid in. And yeah, just waiting from it to receive the amount, to convert, and then finally seeing something showing up on the other side. You're just like, are you going to make it there today? Come on, do it. And then, it doesn't take very long. It just seems like it takes forever, but it's just like, okay, it made it awesome. But, typical crypto practice, always double and triple check your addresses. Make sure they're correct. Make sure you're sending out of the proper one to the proper things, and so on. What do we got here? I think LTC is underrated.
I got a proactive troll out to Patrick Guyan. I had hit him first before he hits us.
My best friend says, I think LTC is underrated. If only it had a cute dog mascot and popular billionaire to tweet about it. That's very true. LTC, it could be very underrated. Like it's massive. I feel it's a massive coin for crypto for the reasons of transferring wealth, transferring funds, and purchasing stuff in general. Um, Someone said something about the L7. What will that do to L7 profitability? What do you mean by that, little time mining? What do you mean about what will it do for the profitability of the L7? Obviously, if Litecoin pumps, it'll be more profitable depending on how many L7s go online.
Yeah, but your
At
L7
the same time,
it doesn't make that much Litecoin. It makes way more Doge. So
yeah, that's the next point I was going to get on.
Yeah, exactly. The profitability isn't going to be affected that much.
It's going to have to go huge. Like Litecoin could literally drop to like 10 cents and you'll still be profitable because over 60% of the income is coming from Dogecoin. That's why their Litecoin halving is coming up in just a couple months, but it's not really going to affect your profitability at all. Like example, I ran some numbers a while back. Like say you're making $17 a day on an L7 after power, you might drop down to $15. It's not really going to be a huge difference in your profitability because that is coming from Dogecoin.
Right.
At the same time, sometimes when you go and look at like mining pool stats, you see Litecoin has, a whole bunch more hash than Dogecoin, and same with some other ones. Like a lot of people aren't merge mining or they're still unaware of merge mining potentially. So I don't know what's going on there, but there's times where Dogecoin hash rate is a lot lower than all the other script coins. Lazarus, hey, if Doge is considered a security, what is
everybody's
this?
everybody's so focused on whether or not things are going to be considered a security. We're all going to kind of have to wait and see. I'm kind of over that discussion because it constantly comes back up, and the SEC doesn't do a darn thing about it. And until they actually decide they're going to do something, I'm so over the discussion.
Yeah, you'd think you were touching up on little time mining right there. I just saw it. I was about to say something. If Doge is considered security, but you're not staking or anything for validations. It's a proof of work network. And last I understand it, like they're talking about the staking part are potential securities and they're building on that and trying to figure something out. I don't even know the full story there. But,
Gary Gensler came out and said, basically the way it was interpreted by a number of people in the market is that everything but Bitcoin is a security, which is a very gross overgeneralization, and was just the dumbest thing I think you could possibly have said. It just showed his ignorance, because
that's
every single coin has to go against that. And forget the test. There's a specific test as to whether or not, I'm sure somebody in chat will help me out here as to what that test is, but there's a test as to whether or not something is going to be a security, commodity, whatever. Another head of the Commodities Exchange Commission or something like that actually came out and said, no, Ethereum is not a security, it's a commodity. So
that was before that was before the POS switch though, wasn't it?
No, he actually recently came out with that. That was my understanding, at least.
Because I remember they said, proof of work and everything is non-security, whatever. And then once they went to POS, there's been like, okay, there's things saying, okay, now the SEC wants to reinvestigate Ethereum again because they're now proof of stake. They're no longer proof of work when they're declared a non-security.
Yeah. So yeah, and then Kyle Rosa says it very well, that at the very least, POS is the only thing that could be considered a security. Proof of work is not. And so, I mean, that's one of the things everybody focuses on. Oh my gosh, if the Fed or not the Fed, the SEC comes down and says everything that's proof of stake is a security, that's going to be bad for crypto. Well, maybe, but it'd be awesome for proof of work. Could you imagine the amount of if some of these coins decided, well, we'll make transitions to proof of work, that would be so awesome.
Oh, for sure. 100%. That would definitely, imagine Ethereum forking back to proof of work. That'd be insane. But like just in general, like proof of stake, you're buying your coin, you're holding it for validation. That's way different. Bitcoin originally founded on proof of work, will never go to proof of stake. And, everyone wants to move to allegedly more green efficient stuff. I still think that's the whole thing on its own on what's going on there. Too many people are making too much money off this whole topic, but, that's totally a thing. So I don't know. It's going to be an interesting transition for sure if that does happen. Like right now, it's kind of split in the middle. They're talking about exchange staking now. Like it started off, all POS is going to become a security, and then now you have a split there saying, well, no, it's this and this. And you have, Coinbase guy there. He's talking back, flooding the market, saying they're fighting back. And I see that people are taking the Coinbase guy. I can't even remember his name. That's why I just call Binance guy. Yeah, him. Coinbase guy. That's what I consider them as. I don't know their names, but I feel that is another thing just for his own pockets. Obviously, he's fighting back, but he's not fighting back for the people. He's fighting back because that's where he was making a lot of money, and he's mad about it. He doesn't care about the people, his customers. He cares about his own pockets.
Yeah, and that's the other thing is, all of this exchange staking is actually, in my opinion, not good for crypto. It's just banking for crypto, but it took everything away from DeFi. I mean, DeFi was where all that lending and staking and all that kind of stuff happened, and now it's happening at exchanges instead. So I'd like to see it go back to being DeFi, a lot more handled by DeFi instead. I think that would be good for crypto. I mean, that's DeFi is decentralized finance. Why would we make, what we all are in this for? I think partially why we're in this is, decentralized, finance, and have it go to centralized staking. I don't know. That part of it never really made much sense to me, except the fact that, hey, all the exchanges saw money in it, so they decided to get in.
Oh, exactly.
And,
we need to get
a comment on Fully Electric's comment, which was, oh yeah, wouldn't that be interesting? Ethereum going back to proof of work. That will never happen. If you know anything about the Ethereum devs and the dev team, they don't back down from a fight. No matter how much there is a detriment to their coin, they will not back down. I mean, look at what they've done with Tornado Cash and the censorship. There are so many people that are upset about that, and they have now put something in their plans, their rollout to actually fight that and to make basically make things censorship free. It's a ways down the way, but it is something that they're doing. So that'll be in years down the road. That'll be an interesting fight with the SEC. Will they somehow outlaw all Ethereum transactions if it's censorship free? Anyway, it'll be interesting. I'm
wondering, how is I remember hearing something where Vitalik was saying he was talking about Tornado Cash, but he wants to make even a better version that's even more hidden. And he says he could do it. So that's going to be interesting for that fight 100%. But what are they implementing on this? Like, obviously, it's a secure. What happens if they get censored? Like, how are they going to not censor? Like, shut it down. Like, if majority is being held on Amazon or this, they can just go to their buddy Ben and say, hey, shut down Amazon S stuff, or go to whoever else is anyway, at least USA oriented. Obviously, you can go to other countries, start building nodes and stuff based on Hesner or whatever. But how's that going to play out? And remember, the whole FDev said if we ever get censored, it was a big deal just before the merge. They were getting mad at each other in one of those calls that we'll quit, we'll leave, we're gone. And they're getting censored, and nothing's really happened yet. They haven't left.
Nope. And I think basically they were all told to shut up about it because it was hurting them. So I'm sure they're working on some things in the background. Because, by the way, they're not the only one with a mixer. Ergo has a mixer that runs on their platform, but the U.S. government hasn't gone after them yet because they're small potatoes compared to Ethereum. They're trying to make an example out of Ethereum at this point.
Very true. And as much as they fight back, at the same time, if the Security Commission want to make an example out of somebody, you probably don't want to be in their target.
Yeah, don't want to be in their crosshairs, that's for sure.
There's some other topic I wanted to say, but I can't remember what it is now.
Did you want to talk about the 30% increase on power tax?
Oh, I kind of forgot. That's it. Yeah, touch up on that. It affects the states more than me, but it'll ripple to me. We got Trudeau here. I don't even know if I'm allowed to say that name, but he does whatever he's told. So it could trickle here.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting, but this is like, I don't know, when people say things and then reality is something somewhat very, very different. And the powers that be will probably be like, well, okay, yeah, we understand. We're trying to make sure that we're not using a substantial portion of the power grid, leading to dirty energy and all that kind of stuff, because that's really what this comes down to. There'll be something in there that allows people to buy energy credits, green energy credits, whether it be solar renewable energy credits or something else, which will just increase the value of those if you are generating those. That'd be really great, and be another reason why people will want to put in solar systems on their homes, because they'll get greater rebates on those, or something else that if they say lease out a part of a community solar farm, which I know in Illinois we have the ability to do from a residential perspective. So there's going to be other options, green options, that probably won't be taxed. So I don't know. Again, anytime somebody throws out some wild, landish idea and it's the first time you ever heard it, reality means that it's not going to be anywhere near what was proposed. So hardly worried about it. They're talking about implementing it in 2024. Well, that sounds like political suicide. 2024 is an election year. Are you really going to implement something like this in an election year, where you're going to basically take maybe a small portion of a base, but you're going to take a selection of voters that are going to be like, hell no, this is not what I want, and basically, make them vote for the other guy? Typically during election years, that doesn't happen. People stay off of third rail topics. This is not really like what I would typically call third rail topics, but it does affect a certain number of voters, and I don't care. Any way you look at it, I think 2024 is going to be a close election.
Very, very true. Now, the power thing is what touched me up with what I would talk about. Did you guys see that thing floating around on Twitter and stuff with, I guess it was, I don't know who the two actually were, but they were going back and forth in like a courtroom or something about the power of Bitcoin versus like the one person, like the chick was asking the guy, the guy was obviously anti-crypto and the girl was part of the government or something. And she's saying, so what does a Bitcoin mining operation look like? And he's like, well, you take a bunch of these machines and they use about 3-4 times the power of a average house. And she goes, so you take these toaster ovens, right? And you line them up. Now, wouldn't it be safer to burn that gas instead? And he'll all like, no, well, then we do this and all this stupid stuff. And then he goes, okay, so does that Bitcoin miner emit X amount of pollutants? And then the guy goes, well, obviously not. And then he goes, so if I was to take an EV charging station for a car and plug it in and it's using up the same energy, wouldn't I have to implement the same bill onto charging them as well as what you guys are trying to say to Bitcoin miners? So it's a big reversal of his face where one guy really doesn't know what he's talking about, but all he knows is he doesn't want Bitcoin mining.
Right. And it's interesting, because what makes what we do as miners any less of a value as anything else? So basically you're putting somebody being able to charge their electric car, or I don't know, play video games for that matter. You're putting their power usage as more important than what we want to do with our power. And that's the part that I have a problem with. I think that's absolutely ridiculous. You want to put a 30% tax on power that's not green? Fine. That makes a hell of a lot more sense than what you're talking about right now of doing and just basically only taxing one industry. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's very true. If they're going to do it to that, they got to do it. It's got to be wide, everybody, not just pinpoint one thing. And that's actually what that came up to. It's at the end, they're talking about, does it use a bunch of energy and everything to mine gold? Gold is considered, a thing of value. And then she also said, well, Bitcoin is considered that. We're not here. We cannot tag one being worth more than the other in terms of value and energy. So both they're the same. It's pretty much what they're saying, right? You can't tell who can use their power for what purposes.
Right. But the interesting, I'll do a counterpoint here. The interesting thing about it is the fact that, well, I don't know what the overall hash rate is with Bitcoin, but is it more secure with, 1 petahash versus 2 petahash? No, not really. But yet 2 petahash uses twice the electricity as 1 petahash. So there's that part of the argument that is interesting. Again, like I said, that's counterpoint. But either way, we have freedom in this country. We shouldn't be told how we have to or not use our energy.
Very, very true. Do what we want.
Exactly.
What do we else got going in the chat? Anybody have any questions? Compare the cost of banking to mining. Joseph says, compare the cost of banking to mining. Just thinking of all the physical buildings that are filled with computers that are powered to run. That would be very hard to do. Now, some people actually, I think, do have charts and stuff on this. And it's not even banking in general. Anything in general uses so much more power that realistically, Bitcoin, yes, it uses lots, but it doesn't use, half as much as a lot of these mainstream things actually do use. YouTube probably uses more power in theory.
I wouldn't say that, but certainly banking, yes, banking uses a tremendous amount of power. And there have been articles written about this and I forget. In fact, I was talking to Hawk about this, I don't know, a number of months ago. It's probably over 6 months ago now, which I don't remember exactly. I'd have to go back and research. But yeah, the argument was made was that banking uses more energy than Bitcoin mining. Not significantly more, but certainly on the same level as far as the amount of power that's used.
Yeah, and Bitcoin's better, faster, and easier to work with in theory. Like, seriously, even here, like, I don't know, you probably have the same issues in the States, but like, you get your statement, say you got some funds transferred to it, or you paid your credit card or whatever, and then you go to use your credit card. It says it's there, but it's not actually there, and then it gets declined. It's like, oh, you got to wait another 3-4 days for it to actually show up after it's already showed up. Like, these are major issues that people are just learned to live with and don't realize that, we don't want this crap anymore. When it says it's there, it should be there, and it should be there a lot faster, right, which is what we get with crypto and Bitcoin and stuff.
Agreed. Yeah, I found it really, really interesting. So if you're buying something outside of the States, or you're buying a service from outside the States, think about how much easier that is with crypto, especially if you're traveling internationally. I mean, the cost of moving US dollar to whatever currency you're in at the airport, the cost is ridiculous. But wouldn't it be much better if you could actually go to like a Bitcoin ATM and be able to pull out your money in local dollars with very little overhead cost? And that's
for sure. Or like crypto.com has the international cards. I don't know, Binance might have one too. I think that Litecoin card, like, you could simply just say, okay, I want 200 Canadian, like, it'll work out whatever in that. But like, I swap that in there, sell, buy, use my card anywhere in the world as well. Like, it's very fast and easy, not dealing with all this mainstream stuff.
Yep, exactly.
But you have a Visa card, you can't pay anywhere. What Red Putt says, you have a Visa card, you can't pay everywhere. I hit the wrong button, so Max Voltage didn't hear me. But Red Putt says something about a Visa that you can't pay everywhere.
Most of the time you can. Not always, but most of the time.
Mining and trading.
That's right. So you're using push to talk on Discord. And so, okay, I got it. Now I understand why sometimes I hear you and sometimes I don't.
Yeah. So when I'm talking to you or asking questions and stuff, I hit the push to talk, and then, well, usually throughout the stream I was just holding push to talk so you hear everything. But sometimes I switch scenes and stuff, then the normal mic is going straight to the stream, so it kind of gets mixed up. And then when I push it down, I can't use my mouse sometimes.
So Lazarus says Netherlands don't accept Visa much. What do they accept, or do they not do much in the way of credit cards?
Yeah, or MasterCard thing. Maybe they're a PayPal thing. Maybe they're straight up Bitcoin now. Who knows?
Oh, Netherlands loves debit too much. Yeah, but the debit
Ah,
cards generally will have, like, at least in the United States, they have, it's either a Visa or a MasterCard debit card.
yeah, it's same as here. Visa debit. It's built right into your bank cards now.
Well, Jock Miner MX isn't really that big in the United States anymore either. So there you go.
What is this? Q4T5 says, "Hello, Rabid. I'm planning to buy my first Bitcoin mining. I see Bitcoin merch has S19 Pro 110 terahash for 19.99. Is this real?" Well, Bitcoin merch is a real company and they are legit. Yes, I don't know what their shipping is, and be very careful though because pretty much every reseller out there probably has 5 to 10 fake accounts made up to look exactly the same. So just do make sure you're on the exact website. As for that miner, I don't know what it's going for, but just make sure you are on the legit website. I should have links to that down below, but I don't know if I have Bitcoin merch on there or not. Rudd is holding all the BTC in the Netherlands. Rudd Putz has all the BTC in the Netherlands. Oh, that's interesting. Fully Electric says that's a fake website, so it doesn't sound like it's legit. You know what? Let's look that up right quick. So that's Bitcoin merch. That's fine. Let's have a look.
They're selling a heat bit for $1,200.
Usually when I search stuff, I always skip the first thing that pops up, especially if it says ad, because scammers are promoting their sites through ads. So I try to look for the second and third ones, but I don't see another one right now. So I'm
I'm
going
pretty sure
to.
this one's right. Actually, it was $19.99 for an S19J Pro, the
Oh,
100
yeah, maybe
terahash
it is.
version.
S19.
I'm
I
trying to
see the
remember.
110 right here. I'm seeing 24.99 unless I'm in Canadian or something. Is this the one you were looking at? This is 110 terahash. Is that what he said, or did he say 100? No, he said
The
110
one I
terahash.
saw was $19.99 was for 100 terahash.
Yeah, here's the 110 for 24.99. He said he saw it for 11.99, which is no, that's like 50% less. So you're probably on a fake site.
Yeah, that would be my guess.
Thank you very much, Rondi. It's nice to see mining community tubers collaborating on each other's streams. Yeah, it is nice to get around and talk with other people for sure.
Hell, it's a lot easier. I like to talk, and it's a lot easier than setting up my own stream.
There you go. Then I don't have to wear my voice out and be dry as can be at the end.
Yeah, there you go. That too.
But now I drank more water than usual and I'm out.
Oh yeah, there it is. Yeah, $24.99 is what I'm seeing.
Yeah, so that 11.99 does not look legit.
Yeah, I'm kind of toying around about maybe getting my first ASIC, but I would need one of the quieter ones. So I was looking at some of the, ASIC profitability websites, and from what I could see, it looked to me like per watt, your greatest return per watt was actually a Jazz miner.
The X16 that's coming out, that thing's going to be a beast.
Yeah,
That thing's going to be
definitely will
insane.
be.
Like that's one algorithm that Bitmain still hasn't fully destroyed. Jazz Miner remains the king for that. And it does sound like they are working on actually ZIL mining for the X16, but last Telegram message I got, they still don't know for sure, but they are trying to get it to work. Now that would be huge as well if they could get that to happen.
Yeah,
That's
that
pretty
would be
insane.
pretty amazing.
And then of ETC, well, that's also got eight gigabytes of memory. So like that's fine for FW. Any coin on Ethash, if it pumps, you know, that miner will be the best one for it.
Mm-hmm.
I just ordered an S19J Pro 94.
Have they said when the X16 is supposed to be out?
It sounds like June now, I think. It was supposed to be next month, but it got extended. Now something's happening. I really feel, I don't know if you've been following what's been going on, you know, with Ledger and stuff, but I feel something big is going to happen around July. Because July, I don't even know which conferences, but there's supposed to be some big crypto conference coming up. And we know like some people like to keep things hidden and stuff. Now, everything was supposed to, the Ledger Stacks was supposed to be released this month. They're waiting till June or July now, right in just before this conference. The JazzMiner X16 was supposed to be next month, May. It's June or July now as well. And who was I talking to? I can't remember. I know I was talking to Forest Miner before. They have pieces that they want to showcase at this conference as well. And there's someone else who's not who got extended as well. I can't remember what they are, but they wanted it to be revealed at the conference. And I think Locatech was one of those as well, but we still don't know about them. But it sounds like a lot of stuff is coming around this. So, you know, Bitmain may have a new script miner up their sleeve. I don't think so yet until probably 2024. That'll follow their big upgrade timeline. Now, depending on the Locatech thing, we could see a middle ground script miner, which is still better than the L7 release, but it all depends if Locatech probably becomes legit, because obviously Bitmain will see something like this, be like, okay, we're going to drop a quick middle ground here and give a halfway point to the L9 or something by 2024 for their next big upgrade. So I feel after July here, we're going to see probably some new mining equipment drop, and we don't know what they are yet, but there seems to be some secretive stuff happening, as well as miners being held back releases for this date. I don't know. That's just what I think.
Yeah, you know, there are definitely releases that are based upon when conferences are. I mean, we know like the consumer product show is in January, I believe. You know, there's always things that are released right before that.
Yeah.
Consumer electronics show, that's what it is. Yeah.
Oh yes, that's right. That's a big one. That's all mainstream stuff mostly though. But yeah, we'll probably start. Yeah. We will start seeing eventually as crypto matures and gets adoption. We'll probably see crypto related stuff at these things. Most likely, we'll start seeing, you know, potentially imagine GPU boxes showcasing hash rate on the box. That'd be something pretty insane. But yeah, you know, it'd be crazy. But Fully Electric said something here about RabidMining. They got the E9 Pro working with ZIL at the pool level. Now, which pool is that? And what do you mean? Because I don't know. There seems to be some sketchy stuff kind of going on with the E9 Pro lately. I don't know if you guys heard about it, but obviously we know Bitmain made the E9 Pro. They run the pool. At Pool is theirs. And is it Poolin? That's ex-members, ex-employees of Bitmain. Now, it turns out those are the only two pools that the E9 Pro actually work on, because obviously they know how the firmware works. Now, ZIL mining would not work on anything else. And then somehow Flex Pool emerged that they were working on it for a long time. They got ETC plus ZIL working on the E9 Pro, but it only works with the ETC firmware. Now, I was curious. I don't have one, but I wonder, the E9 Pro does do ZIL mining. I wonder if you could flash the E9 firmware into the E9 Pro for that briquette. I don't know. It's very, very risky, but maybe that could do something. But it sounds like they got it working. Then a whole bunch of reports come out. Allegedly, some people say it's Bitmain doing it and saying it's a lie. They're paying out, Flex Pool is paying their miners out of pocket, which makes 0 sense right now for rejected shares. So there's a whole bunch of up in the air stuff going on right now with this E9 Pro. And I don't know what the story is on it, but it makes sense.
So we were talking about conferences a little bit ago. I just remembered this. So this morning on the stream, on the FLUX stream, they announced that the Cypherpunk that was canceled from earlier this year due to a conflict in Miami, as far as no hotel space or anything. Now they've announced the end of September in Fort Lauderdale. So yeah, Cypherpunk, sorry, is still coming, and it's going to be at the end of September. So get your flights reserved, people. I asked. I said, are we good to reserve flights? And they said, absolutely. I'm like, okay. Now what's interesting is Sunflower Mama, my wife, said maybe we should plan on driving because that is hurricane season. So maybe.
Yeah. Oops. Everything canceled, delayed.
What are the odds? Now somebody's going to clip that, and if it actually happens, they're going to blame me.
So
Not
Mr.
weather
Green,
forecasting advice. I have to make sure I make that clear.
I don't even have a passport. Actually, I got invited to go to the Cancun thing. They were Bitmain. I didn't have a passport, and they wanted to know. And I said, nope, not going. Bye. But
How hard is it to get a passport in Canada?
I don't know. Well, at the time, there was like 2-year waiting list or something. I don't even know.
For a passport?
Yeah, I don't know. They had some big deal going on, like with the COVID thing happening, and then no one wanted passports, and all of a sudden everyone wanted it. I think it was just a media BS thing myself, but who knows? You know, it's very funny because it's like, like I don't even know how to explain stuff. It's like people watch the news and they forget what they just said like the other day, but they're talking about, you know, we're not even at pre-pandemic levels yet, but we've seen more traffic than we've ever seen. How does that make sense? You haven't hit these levels before. You used to be a lot more busier, but now you're so busy you can't keep up because you've never seen these levels when you said you haven't hit previous levels. Like everything always jives, never makes sense what they say. They'll say one story, 2 days later, they'll talk about the same story, but it'll be a totally different runoff of it that totally devalues what they just said. Like, I don't know. This media doesn't even know what they're doing anymore, and people still feed into it.
Sorry for the confusion, Martin.
But someone said something about the BitBoy video. I didn't see it or anything, but I saw some tweets on the whole FTX, whatever that guy's name is, that so allegedly he made Shiba INU. What do you feel about that, Max?
You know, if that's yeah, I'm speechless, as you can tell, because I saw that and I was like, wow. I've never been a Shiba Inu fan because it's a meme coin as far as I'm concerned, but wow, that would really be interesting if that is true. Very interesting.
Yeah, like I have no idea. I have no idea if there's any truth or anything to that, but you know, I have a little bit, can't lie. You know, I mined it for one day with Ethereum on unminable. So I got like a few billion. It's just been sitting there. You know, it goes up, great. It doesn't, whatever. I don't care. It's a meme coin. I'm not betting my life savings on it.
I'm laughing at some of the comments here. Rabid has a voice morpher. It's a Max deepfake. Yes, I'm just AI generated. This is not the real Max. I'm AI generated. That's how good RabidMining is.
Oh man, they're on to me. Shoot. Oh man, now I need a new trick.
Right, there you go.
Red Panda face reveal tomorrow.
And then Tech Man says max voltage clipped. The one where I said not weather forecasting advice.
Fully Electric finally got to 1 million Raptorium. Now what? When will it moon? I don't know when it'll moon, but you know, they are doing some crazy things, and you know, it's going to gain some value. I really feel it will.
I hope so. I'm now nowhere near 1 million. I'm at like 70,000 is what I'm at right now.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, who was it yesterday? Oh, DJ Mines had a little interview there with Piggy, and they're talking about their futures trading and leverage trading. And I don't really know how all that works, but it sounds like they're trying to do some pretty big things, potential merge mine operations and other things on it. Now they're building in how I gather the quick sum up of it is they're building in basic coding knowledge, which allows, unlike, you know, you go to Ethereum, you go to other things, you need specific devs that know their code to build on the chain. So they want to do pretty much, they want the DeFis, the DEXs, everything built across the platform, and being able to do it in a couple common languages will allow more developers in to have the opportunity to build on their chain. It's like having, I guess, an application where, you know, only you and you can build on this, and you other 10,000 that applied, you might have a great idea, but you're not smart enough to build on our code, is kind of what's going on here. This will implement more people the ability to build on chain with Raptorium. And then it's going to be Raptorium on the proof of work side will be validating those transactions, and the node side will be validating the smart contracts and the assets and everything, which will also increase a little bit of the node values as well through them transactions for a boost. So it won't just be the way it currently is right now. There's going to be a lot of building happening across the whole chain.
Yeah, I watched a little bit of that, but honestly, it was late. It was a Friday. I was tired. My eyes were starting to glaze over. I was so tired, so I didn't. I was listening, but I wasn't listening to the stream. So just being honest.
Yeah, and for some of the gamers out there, they are dipping into that gaming world. I don't know. A couple older games at first is what they're doing right now with NFT implementations. Like I think Lineage is one of them, and something else. But like they're making like real world items through real forging throughout the NFTs. So you literally, if you have like this sword at home in real life, you have it in a game as well, type of thing. So it's like
Right.
next level. What do they call that? Cosplay and all this stuff there. And then obviously we all heard about that morph they're making, the MMO, which is a long, lengthy process. It's being built from scratch, and hopefully, it does great. But the longer it takes, the better, because you don't want massive bugs or something in this thing. So, there's the gaming side there, there's the chain sides, there's the NFTs, the DeFis, and some type of new, I don't even know what it is, leverage future trading. I don't know how that works. Maybe you do, Max. Somehow you can time lock it. So it makes it impossible for someone to rug pull you. It makes it impossible for you to lose your funds or anything, but it's almost like time staking that you would normally do right now. So like you lock it in for an X amount of blocks, you lock it in for this, and you can gain depending on what you pick. If the price goes up by the time you buy now and lock it in for 1 week, 24 hours, whatever, you could also gain if it goes down, if you choose a different method. I don't know. It's really complicated for me because I'm not a trader, but I could see a lot of people probably. DJ Mines had a big smile on his face when he heard about this. So he knows more about this because he is a trader, but myself, I don't know, but it sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, honestly, I'm not big on that. Like I do a little bit of trading, but would hardly call myself an expert. I know enough to be dangerous. I know the basics, but as far as leverage trading, hell no. You will not get me doing that. That's where the risk multiplies significantly. So no. And oh, by the way, hello, Red Panda. How are you? Hope you are enjoying your time in this country. He is now in the U.S. But I'm guessing the kids are napping right now. No, so Red Panda, just so you know, I am actually RabidMining talking. I am an AI generated max voltage, and I'm using voice morphing software to sound like him. So there you go.
I can swap around anytime I want. I am that good. And tomorrow I'm actually doing a Red Panda Mining face reveal. So it's going to be crazy. Who is the man behind Red Panda Mining? Oh, crazy.
Waiting for a response. He's speechless. Red Panda's like, oh yep, I guess you are really doing a face reveal of Red Panda tomorrow, because he hasn't commented.
I'll give you an idea of the parents. So Red Panda's mom and dad. The dad is the owner of Nvidia. The mom is the owner of AMD.
Oh.
Who is this kid?
That's funny.
Oh man, crazy.
Oh, geez. My son is calling me on Discord. I'll have to cancel that one.
Everyone knows him as Linus.
There you go. Yeah, he's just Linus. That's all.
DJ Mines does not like to use real money to gamble, but he doesn't mind with crypto. All right, so do we have any I guess a few more questions out there before we wrap this up? It's been like an hour and 40 minutes. It's crazy. Mining, where you live and streams, you got a group
Red
of
panda is
contact
actually a
creators
normal
together.
panda. Yeah, he's not really red. He's actually black and white. That's
Horrible,
that's
yeah,
the
black
that's
and
the
white.
real secret.
That's a skunk.
Red panda, horrible. You're all horrible.
Wouldn't that be a skunk then?
It could be. It
they're,
could
they're
be.
kind of. That explains why he owns 1,000 GPUs. I bet you we look at him, it might be a 50-50 split between Team Red and Team Green. No, there's a lot more NVIDIA there. Daddy's stronger.
That's interesting. He's stuck at the mall, of all places.
What mall? West Edmonton Mall? That's not in the States.
Well, yeah, let's all announce what mall Red Panda's at so that everybody who is in the area can rush there to try to find him.
Yeah, everyone, we're playing Hunt Red Panda Mining. Whoever gives me proof gets 1 Bitcoin that you found.
Hey, Red Panda, no. You do not tease. Not a maybe. You either are or are not. Yes, this is Yoda speaking. Are or are not. No maybe. Oh, it depends on his throat and cough.
Throat and
you
cough.
Just show your face.
He's sick.
Thought the humidity would be helping you out, Red. Get the humidity, help get rid of all that congestion and stuff.
Where is that? Florida? Is that where that all is?
I was not saying that. I can either confirm or deny that's where he's at.
A high humidity place. Well, Florida's a big place.
It is. It is a big place. And it is not the only place in the United States that has high humidity.
I'm just trying to think where Terra was. I don't know where Trump and everyone is and where Terra is.
Fully electric. Max would be a good president. Oh, because I can confidently say I can't confirm or deny that. Yeah, I don't think that's what makes a good president. And no, I would eventually say something really stupid that during the campaign, and because I'd lose my shit, and basically call somebody out, and then that would be the end of my campaign.
Oh, you went to Disney? I've never been to Disney yet. I really want to go there. Now I'm upset. I want to go.
Did he actually say that on the stream, or were you just going by what Fully Electric said?
No, Red Panda said at Fully Electric, really good. Disney World is freaking hot. Hollywood Studios and the Mall Falcon ride was the best. Awesome. At least having fun. That's good. That's what counts, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, the humidity will be good for your cough. There's no doubt about that.
Just make sure no hurricanes hit.
At least we're not in hurricane season. You got that at least. I think generally
Storm Chaser.
Yeah, I think this time of year it's usually pretty sunny. There's not a ton of rain this time of year, I don't think. Yeah, exactly. Your nose is clear as heck, which means your chest and all that other kind of crap is gonna clear up as well. It should.
Alrighty. Well, anyway, I guess we should wrap this one up. It's been a little while. I got a bunch of things I need to do. So I appreciate Max Voltage for showing up for this. I appreciate everyone else for showing up for this live stream. I will see you all in the next one.
Rabid out. I hit all the wrong buttons.